Hi, I'm John Counsell. I'm a senior reporter with Texas Lawyer newspaper, and welcome to the October 31st, 2008 edition of Reversed and Remanded. I brought back my old colleague, Mark Donald, former senior reporter with Texas Lawyer, now the observer of the Dallas Observer. On a very somber occasion, yesterday we heard the sad news that preeminent trial lawyer Fred Barron has died of cancer at the age of 61.
Yes, he has.
Fred founded Barron and Budd, was it late 70s or early 80s, I believe, and forever changed law and politics in Texas, for better or for worse, depending on your point of view.
Right.
And Mark probably, as a journalist, knew Fred better than anybody.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that I did do a substantial piece for the paper here. We gave him Impact Lawyer of the Year. I think it was 2006.
Correct.
It was in the aftermath of the Democratic courthouse cleaning in Dallas County.
Right.
Fred had, had set up or helped set up the Texas Trust, which was a formidable funding source for the Get Out the Vote campaign for Dallas County, and sort of was very, very instrumental in helping the Democratic judges get elected and sweeping the Republicans out of the courthouse.
Yeah, but for him, they wouldn't have had the funds, I guess, to do that. I guan
Well,
he really kind of rebuilt the infrastructure of the Texas Democratic Party.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. It wasn't just Dallas County. I mean, they were looking at the systemic problems within the party. They, they gave seed money to help establish positions within, the state Democratic Party to, to get good people in there who could run the party and see the future, and in large measure, it was very successful. I mean, look, not only do we have a seat change in Dallas County, but there's, although Texas is still, a red state, there's all kinds of rumblings that things are going to happen in Harris County. We'll know in a few days.
Yeah, he's already seen the fruits of his labor. There's no doubt about that. And what I guess we couldn't talk about Fred without mentioning what most of the national press are going to lead with in his obituary is the John Edwards situation, that Fred had paid to have his Edwards' mistress moved, but there was so much more to Fred Barron than that one incident. It was, people who know him, that's like the last thing to think about.
Fred was incredibly passionate about whatever he did, and one of the things that he did in the last few years of his life was sort of help John Edwards run his political campaign. He essentially had a house or an apartment, I'm not sure which it was, in North Carolina, and took on the task of really trying to help implement that campaign. I spoke to him, I guess, several days before the Iowa primary, and he was incredibly hopeful that Edwards was going to sort of surprise everybody and win the Democratic primary in Iowa, and that would be, the first step in a long march to the White House.
Did you know that he was sick? I mean, I didn't know anything about that, Mark.
I had heard things that he was sick, and I had spoken to several close friends of his, but only within the last, maybe 6 weeks.
And one thing that that people have told me about him is he didn't really want that out there. He didn't want anybody to feel sorry for him, and he was more of the kind of guy that. I want to help you. I don't want you to help me.
Right.
And I guess that says something about him.
He was a genuine article for you couldn't deny his authenticity. And he had a very intoxicating personality. He sort of drew people in, and they wanted to sort of join the charge with him. I found him to be very likable and very approachable.
And again, he created a sort of law firm that we haven't seen in Texas until he made it. I mean, he created a firm that became a machine for asbestos cases. And the thing that's interesting about him is, I think he told me once, he has never filed a class action. It was all individual cases. They were bundled together. But I mean, that's the way he did it, because he thought each person should have their day in court.
And he made a bunch of law, you know, in front of the Supreme Court, and he on some of those class action issues, I believe. And he, you know, if he had a cause, he just wrote it, you know, hard and long until I mean, he saw it, you know, hedging in his direction, if it could. I do think he saw, you know, the sort of tort reform writing on the wall, and maybe he got out of his law firm, you know, and started winding down because of it. He sort of saw the end of days in terms of, you know, asbestos litigation, and that's when he sort of retooled himself. And well, he's always been a very political animal, and always been very involved in national politics. But I think it's more recently that he's sort of turned his attention inward and really focused on Texas, legislative races, you know, as well as local races. So
let's talk about that issue. That's what everybody's is obsessed with these days. Is what's going to happen on November the 4th, on Tuesday. Mark, do you get any sense that we'll see different people of different parties on our court after that day?
Now we're talking about the Texas Supreme Court.
Let's start with the Texas Supreme Court. Yeah. What are the chances you think that a Democrat is going to ride the wave of the Obama furor and overcome our deep redness in this state and win?
Well, you know, I would say I mean, my best guess would be, you know, that it's still an election cycle or two away, you know. I mean, we have Houston or Harris County that seems to be turning a little more blue, and you know, I mean, there's some really hotly contested races down there. You know, early voting in Dallas County seems to be trending pretty strongly Democratic. So, you know, if Obama, you know, has landslide numbers in Dallas, it seems like he's going. You know, we've got a very controversial sheriff's race here. It seems like he's going to, you know, pull everybody along with him.
I think Harris County is a place to watch.
Yeah, but statewide, you know, we're still looking, you know, at a tough call for the Democrats. I think, you know, the candidates. There hasn't been that much, you know, in the papers about it until recently, and I still think it's
okay. Let's make our prediction. What's going to happen in the Supreme Court?
I think they're going to hold on to their benches. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think all the Republicans will win, and in Harris County, I'm going to make my prediction first. I think that I think there's some Democrats going to break through on the trial courts. I mean, it may be a situation where people are like looking at the ballot names, which looks better, but I think it's so even there that a Democrat could win.
Well, you know, there's that old expression: "As goes the top of the ticket, so goes the bottom." And you know, I think if you've got the Obama, you know, pulling in pretty strongly in Harris County, you're going to pull in some Democrats as well.
Mark, thanks for coming over. Can you come over again next time I need you?
Oh, you know I'm here for you, John, always. It's great to be back in your office. So.
Thanks.
Take care.